So back to our code, you're saying that our app now is running on port 5000, so which is crucial, and you are able now to see the current post. So what this means, so tujya gukora urugero turebe in case you have something like that, how you can manipulate data using node application. So ibi ngibi ngiye kubisiba. Just that one just for demonstration. Ikintu ahubwo ngiye gukora ahangaha nshobora kuza nkaba navuga ati so can say guys, can you hear me? Hello guys, I think you can hear me. Hello, can you see my screen on? You can see. So your colleague is saying that he can see my screen. I don't know the reason why, but you can still move forward. I hope you kari network yiwe ifite ikibazo. So ahangaha ngiye gukora the new array before diving controllers. So I'm going to start with something we already have. So we are currently building the running management application. So the first thing twakoze ni kuba users. So we just need that the users we are getting, we need that we can use based on what we have defined in our server implementation. So here, going to create an array of users. So for each users, I need that the user should have. So the user should have the ID, for instance. Let's say, for instance, the ID is 1. So we can put the name also. For instance, here you can put any name. Uh, can put John, no worries, like John Doe. So also our user will also have the email if I'm not mistaken. So the email as simple dot. So the email should be something like John. I can put something like this one. John Adore dot OW. That's it. So this is our first user. So there is a typo here. This is our first user. So I can duplicate this one so that you can have the second user. So also I want to make sure that you have at least 3 users. So this is the second and this is the third. So you can also make it bigger depending on what you need. Just for now, we want this to have only 3 users. So the next user, you can name this one. So let's say this is a Bob, for instance, Bob Smith. So the email should have like a Bob at Smith, the same as we did on John Doe. So the last one, so this should be a girl. Uh, let's say this is I can say this is Aris. Aris something like Aris Johnson, for instance. So the email can put Aris Johnson. So that's a simple an array of users. You can consider this as a database of user. Just for now, it's an array because we are not yet diving the array systems. We are just focusing on how we can manipulate data. So currently, we don't want to talk about the database system. We are going to look on how we can manipulate data so that in case we just uh, start looking on database, you have to know what is happening. So that's it. So then let's move forward. So the next thing we can do, like as we did, so I think we can, let me see if we can do something like this. Can I make an endpoint? Okay, no worries, no need. So this is our first users. So what we can do here, uh, we can make a, here we can manipulate data. The first thing we can do, so we can create a new users. Can create a new user. So what I want to look at is how you can implement CRUD operation. So what this CRUD stand for? So the first letter is create. You have to create a new user or new item. So the second one is retrieve. You have to view the details. The U stand for update. So when you are modifying data, and the delete in case you want to remove something. So that's what we need to do just for now with demi data. So let's move forward. So here we will create the new user. So the next thing we can retrieve our user. That's perfect. The next thing I think we can also we can see the details of one user. So retrieve one user. One user, you can do this by ID, for instance. So the next thing we can update the user. Uh, Here you can update user, you can use an ID, you can, sorry, this is update. So here it's update user by ID. And also you can delete the user. So moving forward, let's look one by one how you can do this. So there are some functions dukoresha kuma array. For instance, iyo tugiye kwangira some data, and then dukoresha push if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So let's move forward. So anger, I can even make a function. Here you go. So we call a function. This function is for creating the new user. So create new user, for instance. So our user is afite email and password. So you are accepting this one using props. Twabonye ni props cyangwa dushobora kuvuga ati ni parametre. So parameter zacu turashaka gufata ni ID and email. So that's it, the first thing. Function yo creating a new user iraza kubifata the name and email. So that's what we need. So ID impamvu nayishyizemo turashaka uburyo ki this ID yo kubera ko tutaba tuzi ngo tugeze ku mwiza wa kangahe, tuzaba dushaka uburyo ki tuyishyiramo. Currently don't focus on ID. So we want to check on how you can update the user. So ahangaha ndaza kugira gute, before starting an application, so ndaza kucontrolling the users we dufite currently. The users dufite ndaza kuza kubakenera cyane kugira ngo tuze kuba dufite ibintu byose twagiye. So the users data, or ahangaha noneho nze get these are the users. So ndaza mbabona hano tuvuge nk'urugero niba ninga nk'iyi application for instance something like this one. So ndahita mbona the current users ati ni abaye. So moving forward, so ndahita nza hano if I'm going to create the new user or nshobora kuvuga ati then the new user wacu or can make the new user variable. So what this one igiye kuba ifite noneho, so izajya ifite id, yego id tuzajya tuyibona dufashe aba users dufite, ni ukuvuga ko hano dufite aba users bahereye rimwe kabiri gatatu, tuzajya tureba the current array ifite aba user bangahe, noneho nitumara kumenya umubare dufite ubwo id zaba ari umubare ukurikiyeho. So turahita tuvuga ati these are the users, dusanganwe noneho turebe the length yabo banyuze. So the length ubwo nimba ari batatu tuza kongeraho rimwe, dushobora no kongeraho undi mubare just for demonstration biterwa n'icyo dushaka. Then the name iraza kuba n'ubundi name twasetinze hano as a prop. So then turahita tuza dushyiraho the name. So the something urabona ko name itiza, turahita tuvuga ati iraza kuba ari iriya name dufite. So then and email, so the email should be something like this also. So the user wacu araza kuba afite this data. So ikiraba gisigaye ni ukuza kujya kwita tugira gute tumwadinga in our database. So how we can do that? So uburyo dushobora kubukoramo hari uburyo bwinshi. So twe icyo dushaka turajya duhita dufata ba users dusangana that array, tuhite twongeramo dukoresha ino push. So iyi push icyo ikora iragenda igafata the details uzanye ikazongera inyuma y'izari zisanga. So twebwe turahita twongeramo umuuser wacu mushyashya. Currently ntabwo tuzi ngo umuuser wacu araza afite izihe details, we are predicting using those parameters. So that's it. So then we can also at the end we should return the user who is being created. So can return that the new user. So we have it. Dufite umuntu, then we need noneho kuba twa creating that user. How can we do that? Ariya twari twakoze our application. This is the one. So then this application yacu turifuza yuko turaza kwadinga the new user. How can we do that? So uburyo bwiza bwo kubikora, so turazamo hano mo imbere, yego. So turavuga tuti ariko uburyo numvaga twakoresha iyo dukoresha nka express irabyihutisha. So biratugarura ku kintu twita ama package manager. So wenda nk'urugero nshaka kugira ngo wenda iyi ngiyi ni running, nshobora kuza nkahita nyihamagara ngaha just for demonstration. Nshobora kuza nkayihamagara ngaha nkahita mvuga ati the new user araza kuba yitwa wenda araza kuba yitwa student 1. Then this is the username and the email should be student like this one. So student student something like this. So this is a student at 1.rw. So let's create some students. So I can see there is someone who's trying to join. So ahangaha duhamagaye function yuko iraza ku creatinga aba users batatu at the same time, before consolidating that in a browser console. So let me start again and the run application again. So if you look here, we are now able to create the users. So what this means? So the function ikidukoreye irareba ikavuga ati reba mu ba users dufite. Yego. Noneho mu ba users dufite ugenda ukiriyetingemo abandi bayiza batatu, student 1, student 2 and student 3. Then kuri ID yabo ujye ureba ku muyiza dusanganwe urebe umubare dufite, then wongereho rimwe kuri ID ijya iba auto generated. So tukiri hano tutarajya ku bintu byinshi, reka turebe ikindi kintu nimba hano tubashaka umu creating. So reka turebe how you can retrieve all the details z'uwo mu user noneho. So we are going to create the new function. So the new function, reka tuyite yuko iraza kugetinga our all users. So there's nothing here iraza kuba iyi ngiyi iraba yoroshye. Icyo turakora ni ugufata aba users dusanganwe, then tuba displaying tubereke in the count only fools. So here I can do console.log, sibyo, then nkavuga ati ariko ahangaha dusanga tuyifite. So this one ndayimura nze nyishyire ahangaha. So then ndaza kwitamo ati iyi function iraza kuba iri hano with brackets, so iraza kuma abayuzi. So do the same. I think you are going to see something nk'iyo tuba tubonye kubera ko n'ubundi iraza kuritaninga abayuzi. So you can see now we are able to get the users. This is for getting all users. Anga turi gukoresha an array, is a simple array. There is nothing bigger twageramo, ntabwo twageramo package, ntabwo turareba turi database system and modules. So just for now we are just look ko Node.js yubakiye kuri JavaScript. So ibyo turi gukora ni byinshi twabibonye kuri JavaScript. So then in case you want to get the user ugendeye kuri ID, ushobora kugendera kuri ID, ushobora kugendera kuri email, it depends. Ariko ID kubera ko ari unique, ushobora kugendera kuri ID. So the function should be something like this. So what you're going to do, should have something like this one. Twarabikoze cyagiye turi kureba ku ma local storage. So icyo turi gukora turaritaninga the user, ariko umu user twe dushaka ni umu user urajya uba ufite iki, the user twe dushaka ni ukuvuga ati this user tugiye kuritaninga is the user ufite ID ihuye niyo twapasinze. Igihe umuntu azaba afite ID niyo twapasinze, we are able to see that user. So back here we can console this data tukavuga ati now the user can say something like this. I can come in this way. The user with ID 1, let's for instance duhere kuri gatanu, ntabwo tumuzi, is something like this, then duhamagare get user by ID dupasingemo gatanu. So this is it. Why there is a typo here? Dupasingemo gatanu, wenda reka tushyiremo, can put something like 2 or 6, can put 1. Then reka tugerageze tunashyiremo the user who is not exist, let's say 9. So tubikoze gutyo, then we run our application again, clear, then run again. So turahita tubona the users bose dufite, ariko dufite n'iyi ngiyi iraza kugira gute, iraza kugitwereka one by one. So iratubwira ati the user with id ingana gutya ari gatanu ni uyu nguyu, igahita kwereka the user and the details z'uwo muuser, kabiri ikamukwereka, ariko iyo atarimo it returns nothing because this condition is not satisfied. So make sure yuko urabanza kuba ufite uwo muuser, if you not, nothing. So we can also make this simple. So we can do something like the user, the existing user, for instance. Make message clear. Existing user as a comment. So we can simply say something like this. If the user is not exist, if there is no user, if there is no user. So we can return something like a console. We can do something like this one. We can say the user like this one, the user with ID something like this. No, kubera ko ID tutayizi turapasingamo JavaScript mode, tupasingemo ya ID twafashe in parameter that does not exist. Then here we can return now. We can return now. And return now. Igihe noneho abonetse, we can return the user. Return existing user. That's perfect. So reka tugeragereze kumwiza wundi hano turimo ku nshuro ya kabiri. Also we can do the same. You say which condition? So impamvu njye mbibanje, ubu ngubu mu kanya twari turi ikatwereka yuko the result iri undefined, ariko turashaka yuko message iba clear tumenye impamvu yabaye undefined. Either user arahari cyangwa ntabwo ahari. Nidusanga adahari turahita tumubwira ati uyu mu user ntabwo ahari, message ikaba clear. Igihe araba ahari turaza gukonsologinga tumubwire the result. That's it. So we can do something similar, as simple as that. So if you look here closely, you can see now. So I didn't save if I'm. Oh no, no. So and also here I put something like this. Put something. So let's run again. So if look here, you can see now, even if we are getting null, look at the user with ID 10 does not exist. That's the reason why you can see null, because here we are returning null. So what you return is what we display. So anga byari ukureba the user by a certain field. So moving forward, let's look and how you can update the existing user. So we can come here and here you can define another function. So we can update the user, update user. So here we can update by the name or we can update by ID and email. If I'm not mistaken, so ID it looks something unique. Reka dukoreshe ID. So turaza kwakira ID, then twakire na data. So here I can put like it's updated data. See here. Then Once you have something like that one, so that's it. So ikintu cya mbere turakora, we will first of all check if this user already exists. How we can do that? The same way we can do something like this. So I can declare the new user. So something like this one. So the new user wacu araza kuba angana n'iriya function tunavuze ni get user by id, dupasingemo id. Sorry. Okay, let's move forward. So then you can put something the same like this one. If the user is not exist, you can do something. You can return now, no worries. So for now, I can return nothing. So then how we can update the existing user? We already have some user, so then we need to update that one. So here we can say something, the users twari dusanzwe dufite, ni ukuvuga ati turahita dufata muri ba biza twari dufite, tubirebamo wa mwiza ufite ID, ubwo ni igihe twamubonye, nitutamubona nothing else. So turahita tuvuga tuti red updated user wacu. For now turaza kumwerekana yuko there is no data afite. Ariko ibi ngibi twabikoranga tutaratangira kureba umuntu kugira ngo bitaza kuza kutubera ikibazo. So turaza kuhita tuvuga tuti before checking if user exists, we should have something like this. Then here we will return updated user as null. So ni ukuvuga ati n'ubundi hejuru iraba ikiri null, nta hantu turaba twayapudetinga. So what if dushaka noneho kuyapudetinga igihe tumubonye? So we can say like something this one. We can say for the existing users, baba users dusanganwe. So that's the one dutanga in our array. So trash aba users bacu dufite barapdatinga tuvuga ati for existing users map one by one. This map function icyo ikora, igufasha gukora root kuri existing array, then ikaza kuguhereza n'ubundi returning in another array, which means twebwe turagenda dukora ibintu byacu kuri uwo mwiza, then tuze kuritaninga array iri updated. So how we can do that? So turahita tuvuga ati for each and every user. So ahangaha turavuga ati reka tuvuge ati the current user, for instance, the current user. For the current user, do something. So what we need to do on this user? So for this user, we have data to receive in the yego. So turaza tukopeninge this one. So noneho tuhita tuvuga ati if yego, turaza kuvuga ati igihe wa mu users wacu dufite uri current, igihe ID yiwe yego izaba iri kungana na ya ID baduhaye hejuru muri parameter. This is the ID turi gushaka. Igihe iyi ID yiwe izaba igize, igihe ID yiwe izaba ije, turapdatinga some data. So what the data turaza ku updating? Turaza tuvuge kuri uyu mu user, ikintu cya mbere tugiye ku updatingaho, turahita tuvuga ati updated user wacu. Updated user araza kuba angana n'iki? Araza kuba angana na za details z'umu user twe turashaka kuri uyu mu user. Ikintu cya mbere twifuza the name and the email. That's it. So the name dushaka kuvuga ati iraza kuba ziriya updates, yego turaza kuvuga ati ni updates hari data turaza kurisivinga updated data, yes. So ni updated data dot name igihe bayiprovidinze, ariko igihe batayiprovidinze tuzajya tuhita tugumana iki, tuzajya tugumana data z'umuyuza wacu kugira ngo zitaza kuba null. So tuhita tuvuga ni current user dot name. You can do the same on the email as well, something like this. So this is our user agomba kuba updated in such way. So what is this one? Updated users. This is the updated user. Maybe I'm saying. So then nitumara kumwapdating our user ni ukuvuga ngo ID twasanze bira turaza kuritaninga iki? Turaza kuritaninga wa mu user wacu usanzwe. Bahita tuvuga ati return do return, returning the updated user wacu, updated user. So tutumara kumuritaninga turacyari muri ya array twarupinze kuri one user. Noneho icyo dusigaye gukora, then uyu nguyu turaza guhita turitaninga the current, turaza kuritaninga the current user wa wundi dusanganwe, kubera ko yuko we need that one. Then after that uko umuntu wacu tumaje turamwapdatinze igihe tubonye ID bingana, igihe bitangana iyi ngiyi ibimeze nka else turaza kuritaninga wa muyizi usanzwe wacu, nta kindi kintu tumukora ahubwo turamuritaninga uko ari. Then at the end y'ibi ngibi user wacu ahangaha yabaye updated, noneho turaza kuritaninga the data z'uwo muntu ubaye updated. So we do return updated user. Let's clarify this one. How this one is going to work. Turaza kurisivinga the ID y'umuntu dushaka ku updating. Then the data turaza gukoresha twa updating. Noneho umuyiza wacu by default is null, nothing afite. Noneho ikintu tureba se does this user already exist? Ariko iyi ngiyi iyi function ishobora kuza gutuma wenda dushobora kuritaninga the user who is null. Ariko byo nta kibazo kuko n'ubundi nimba adahari n'ubundi ntabwo aba ahari, ntabwo wakapudetinga data zidahari. So then twikomereze tujya tugati for the users map for the current user ni ubwoko one user by one, umwe arajya avaho undi ajyaho. Igihe turaza kugera ku muyuza ufite ID ingana na ID twarisivinze, we have to do something. Turaza kuapdatinga wa muyuza by the email and the name if they are provided, or if one of them is provided turaza kuapdatinga, then isigaye dukoreshe the current details. Then at the end turaza kuapdatinga wa muyuza returning with the new data. Igihe dushakishe mu bantu bose tukababura turaza kuritaninga the current user. Nimba ID we itabonetse uwo muyuza turamureka akomeze, twebwe turitaninga the current user. Let's do some demonstration. So hano here I think we can call the new function. So here you can do console.log, something like this. So hano dushobora kuvuga ati the updated user wacu araza kuba afite something like this one, updated user of ID, for instance ID 1. For instance icyo tugiye gukora ndaza kuritaninga the something, ndaza guhamagara ya function yacu get user update user by ID, then ndapasingamo the ID turarisivinga and the data nshaka ko ziza kugaragara. For instance, reka mpindure the name and email. The name yacu twari dufite uriya mwiza yitwa Jondo, so nahita mwita wenda Hirwa for instance, Hirwa Aime for instance. And the email I can, sorry, the email something this one. I can say mail at hirwa.rw. So let's do this. So you can do here for the user of ID say yakane wenda ni urugero ID ya kane nshobora guhindura email gusa. So nkavuga ati email y'uyu muntu wa kane iraza kuvuga ati ni new at mail.rw and this one ikavuga ati wenda ni umuntu wa kangahe wa gatatu, so ndaza guhindura izina gusa ahubwo we instead yo guhindura the email for instance. So izina nkaza kuvuga ati ushobora kuvuga ati wenda ni Dr. Alex. So that's it. Urabona ko hamwe nagiye na updating ibintu bibiri, hano na updating kimwe, then at the end ndashaka kureba what is the users dufite, ndahita nzampamagare n'ubundi iyi console log nyamagare nyamagare ahangaha is console avuga ati the updated user data users data just simple like this one. So then let's run our application again. So do this one. So here you can see hano handi twari turabanza tukareba the users dufite. Aba ni ba users bose uko ari batandatu, hari batatu dufite, hari n'abandi batatu turi kugenda twadingamo. So then dufite the user with ID afite this data. This user nawe ntago ahari. So dukomeze noneho tugeze aho tugiye ku updating. Dufite umuyuza ID1 yari afite izina yitwa John Doe and email ni johnando.rw, then we assign the name yitwa Hirwa with the email at hirwa.rw. So let's reka turebe the updated users. If you look here, you can now see for the user ufite ID oh no. Sorry for that. So twibagiwe hano umuuser updated tukibagirwa the ID yiwe, ID igomba kuguma ari yayindi. So ID y'umuuser igomba kuguma ari yayindi. So reka tugire. So now ID yiwe iragumye ariko if you look here the name and the email has been changed. They are different from what we have earlier. Earlier we have John Doe with the email John and Doe with RW. Now we have Hirwa email with the email RW. The same thing for the user ID Yakane. This one, thereafter, the name you were after, your student with the email student at one.rw. Now we have the same name but the different email. The same thing kuri your ID ya gatatu dufite the name nshyashya. So that is for how we can update the user in case you already have them. So what if we want to delete some users? What can we do? So for now this one dushaka kuza kuyamagara after But deleting them on to level, I mean the users will have. So now, so let's take a look here. There is another function. So we can delete user, sorry, delete user by ID, for instance, something like this. So what we just need is an ID of that user. Then after we can do our own thing. So, something like this one. So now this is our function. There is nothing inside. Just the same thing turaza kwanza turebe. Does user already exist? If the user does not exist, we have to return nothing. So here you can put something like this one. So the updated user will don't have access on it. So I can put none. So then how can we delete a user in case we already have that one? So the message is simple and the functionality to question a function. So for the current users. If the another function, this function yitwa filters. So or maybe sometime you will need to check on the Google. So check for the array functions, something like this one in JavaScript. So if we come here, I can say on W3 schools there are some methods of an array. Mostly urabona ko there is a push for adding an element to the array. Pop ni moving the rest element. Shift ni removing the first element for an array and return that array. So these are the essential. If you know how to use a filter, where is the filter? This is the filter. We're creating a new array with our element. The element is passing the condition of our setting. So you have to set the condition akaba tuenda array iraza kuba ifite ID itandukanye n'ingiyi n'uyu returning. So izindi zabasha gupasing iyo condition, you have to return them. Map ni igihe array iraza kuza kugira look kuri the current array, then ikagenda one by one ikora some condition based n'ibyo wenda na logic washyizemo. So that is the sum. And also, if you come here on W schools, you can see there are different array functions. So there are many. There are rank to string, add, join, pop, push, shift, unshift, here's array, direct, many things. So we need to check if there are some which seems interesting to you. So to go to your question, the filter. So what this filter is going to do, filter, and you can put like the current user. So then icyo dushaka turashaka kuritaninga the new array, ariko iyo array izaba ifite abayuza hatabariwemo umuyuza. Uyu muyuza ntabwo agomba kuba afite ID ingana n'iyo baduhaye. Ubwato uwo baduhaye bashaka kumusiba. So nimba tugiye kuritaninga the users, ni uko we have to return all the users ariko wa wundi atarimo. Yeah, wa wundi atarimo. Then at the end we will return the user kuko dushobora kuritaninga ya array ariko just reka turitaninge wa mu user twari twabonye kare. So also here you can put the message saying like this one, something like the user with ID, something like this one, and you can put and something like this one with ID dushyiramo ya ID twabonye, or you can say was deleted successfully. Generated successfully, simple as this one. So this is it. Now we are deleting the user. So let's test this one if it's going to work. So Anga, you can do console. So console.log you can put like uh, deleting user, the deleted user e of id. For instance, let's start with one is, then can call the function of deleting the user by ID and can put them the ID. Then we do the same like at deleting the user of 10. Now what if, sorry, you can put something this one of 10. So let's do the same on 4. So you can even do the same on deleting the cheater necessary, if I'm not mistaken. So, so let's do it in this way. Gatatu ndamusibiye and also reka deleting karindwi 9 hours. So back to our terminal and run something like this one. So node something like this. So barakubwira ati the delete user of one yari hirwa ibuka twamwapudetinze afite email iyi n'iyi. Tugeze ku muyiza wa cumi dusanga uwo muyiza ntabwo ari, umva ntabwo twamusiba. So uwa mbere turamusibye, uwa kabiri tumugezeho turamubura, so we can't delete use utari exist. Uwa gatatu turamusibye, ariko tugeze ku wa kane turamushatse nawe turamubura. So to delete inzuga abantu babiri, we are suppose yuko turasigarana abantu bane, ubu tuzasigarana wa kabiri, kane, gatanu, gatandatu, rimwe na gatatu twabisibye. So these are the basics and how you can manipulate data using existing array functions. So I think this is for today. If you have a question, you are allowed to ask me. Don't worry. Don't have a question. So the next session tuzatangira kureba the package can do research on npm. Npm is a Node.js packet manager. Niyo idufasha kureba kwadingamo the new packages. So make sure that you can do some research about npm and how it works. So that will help you a lot. So I think